Welcome to Two Therapists Talking. The hope for this podcast is to talk about important issues related to couples and individuals who are struggling in their lives with many different issues. I'm David Thompson, a marriage and family therapist.
And I'm Sherie Christensen, marriage and family therapist. Please join us as we explore these issues together, and we hope you will learn and be enlightened along the way. Come find us at twotherapisttalking.com. If you like what you're hearing, please get on and rate us and subscribe to the podcast.
Hi, and welcome back to Two Therapists Talking. I'm David.
And I'm Sherie.
We want to finish today by covering the ADHD and addiction recovery topic. We've done 2 episodes now, and this will be the 3rd and final episode. And I hope it's been really helpful.
Right.
And this will finish it off and hopefully just give you even more information and hopefully empower you or your spouse to do recovery in a way that's more effective if you suspect or know that ADHD has been a part of this.
For sure. Yeah. And we've talked about a lot of different things so far. So definitely make sure that you go back and listen to the other episodes. And we're going to cover kind of one of the final aspects and then look at some different strategies and things like that.
Yeah, kind of a summary.
Mm-hmm. So the one part that we haven't talked about yet is around emotional dysregulation and sensitivity.
Sensitivity.
Yeah. This is really normal for ADHD and ADD to be highly sensitive to criticism, right?
Right.
We call it RSD, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. And we've mentioned this before, but rejection sensitivity, right? And then the dysphoria just means it's like outside the normal range of what you would expect to occur. So you're just a little extra sensitive to this, to criticism, to rejection also is something that we see with RSD. So anything that's around that, there's going to be extra sensitivity. And if you're on medication, during the time you're on medication, you will actually notice a decrease in that. But again, when your medication's only covering you for maybe 8 hours a day, then you're going to have that, and it's going to show up still. So being aware that if you are the person with ADHD, just being aware that I'm probably going to feel more sensitive to criticism, more sensitive to rejection. I'm just going to have that experience more. Then you can be aware when that happens and that starts to flare. That's a space where you can do some, cognitive interventions, right? Like, okay, I'm feeling this out of this. It's probably not this high, being able to talk with your partner about like, okay, what level does this feel like for you, right? And being able to kind of talk yourself through that higher level. Also just taking those breaks, asking for additional reassurance.
Yeah.
Right?
Checking in often. I mean, we talk about check-ins. We've talked a lot about check-ins and even like FANOS, that acronym.
Right.
For check-ins. One of the most important things is to just be more aware of your emotions. We talk about relating to your thoughts and emotions in healthy ways. And so if you're feeling these strong emotions, Sherie talks about sensitivity to criticism. There's emotional outbursts or shutdowns.
Yeah.
We want you to get better at rating, where am I? What's going on for me? Even if it's like a color scale, green, yellow, orange, red, something like that. And, your partner can help you if they suspect that things are getting worse, or it just really is obvious that things are worse. To say, hey, how are you feeling? How would you rate yourself? Is it yellow? Is it orange? Or is it red? If it's red, then definitely, separate and take some time and space. But giving you opportunity just to practice regulating and grounding and breathing and doing all the things, and we've talked a lot about this too, that can help you. But just being more sensitive to it. And for the spouse, whether there's ADD or ADHD or not, we do want to minimize criticism anyway.
Right.
We've talked a lot about this too, where, the opposite of addiction is connection, and recovery needs to model this idea that you're more than the challenges you face or the addictive patterns or behaviors that have become, habit. And so this is just one more plug for, especially if there's ADHD, softness and kindness and compassion with definitely appropriate boundaries. But criticism is not going to move anything forward. It's going to be very hard.
Yes.
And you already know this if you're the spouse, because it's not even related to addiction, just ADHD in general. This is going to be very hard.
Yeah. And being able to separate out, just like David was saying, like the person from behavior, right? Those soft startups, non-shaming correction or discussion around things, right? When you're able to say like, oh, this isn't about like you, like you're amazing and I love you and all of these things. This is just something I'm noticing, right? So that you're connecting around that. It's the sensitivity, again, is that sensitivity to criticism is kind of a sensitivity to like being rejected, right?
For sure.
And so that's where you want to, if you recognize that piece, then the softness that you can come into that as a partner in support of that, of them, is to like separate that out. Like, this isn't me rejecting you. This isn't me saying you're a bad person or that you had a bad motive around something. This is just your intent was bad. This is just a behavior I'm noticing that I would like us to talk about and maybe shift.
Yep.
Right. The effort, emphasizing effort over the outcome.
Yes.
Right. And validating the frustration without enabling avoidance, which I think is a big piece.
Good for everybody all the time.
Right.
When we're challenged by something in a relationship.
Yes.
Just more important.
Especially, yes. And it's good to be able to recognize that on both sides again.
Yeah.
For the person, because you may be like, yes, I'm at a red, I'm at a 9. Like, I really feel like, but if you can kind of breathe through that a little bit and then look at, is this a 9 level situation? Because I'm feeling a 9, but it may not be 9 in the situation, right? Like I might be feeling extra rejection that doesn't fit, or just being able to kind of talk yourself through that, or, oh, okay, this part of me is feeling like you're saying I'm a bad person.
Right.
And if you can verbalize, like, we talk a lot about getting out of the content and talking about the process, and that communication is a lot of times the communication that we need in order to have a good relationship. So like being able to say that, like, a part of me is feeling like you're rejecting me right now. Well, let me clarify. Like, I'm definitely not rejecting you. Like, I love you so much, right? Being able to kind of talk through some of those parts, or I'm feeling rejected right now. If, I'm feeling myself getting really like overstimulated or flooded or whatever. If you held my hand while we did this, or could you give me a hug, that would reassure me that you care and are connected and want that we're on the same team through this.
Right. And hopefully you feel like that's something you want to do and something you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would invite you to reconsider what's going on for you if you can't.
Yes. Yeah. Where are some of the stuck spots there?
We're just letting you know the challenges that
right.
you're going to face helping someone in this process with ADHD.
Yes, exactly. So just recognizing that there's going to be more emotional dysregulation and sensitivity to things. And so just doing the things that you would normally do, but just more.
More, yeah.
And being more aware, and on both sides, there are things that you can do to be more supportive and helpful in moving through those tricky spots where there's more sensitivity. So as we're looking at everything that we've talked about the last
Which is
3
a lot.
episodes,
Yeah.
2.5
We don't
episodes.
expect you to have it all memorized here, but
Yes. So things that are going to work better, things that you can do to have more of a ADD, ADHD awareness in addiction recovery, one of the things is to make sure that you're integrating the addiction treatment with
yeah,
ADHD and ADD treatment.
right.
You've got to have both. There's just so many things that
It's just going to work a lot better.
it's going to work so much
You're
better.
going to see why maybe you've been spinning your wheels in a lot of ways or something hasn't been helping.
Yes. It's really going to reduce relapse for so many reasons that we've talked about the last couple of episodes. It's going to help with self-regulation, and it's just going to make both things progress quicker.
Right. Another strategy that's important is when you talk about these things, keep it short. It's okay to have shorter conversations, but more frequent. That's all right. But as you, I'm sure, know, if it's a long conversation, it's going to get really hard to track their attention span. You're going to lose them, and they will likely feel overwhelmed. So conversations about recovery, talking about these things, keep it short, and it's okay to be more frequent.
Yeah.
That's a helpful strategy.
Yeah. Kind of spinning your wheels about things, or like keeping going and going and going. That's going to be hard. Kind of hit it multiple times, like more frequently, having the conversation so you can get through everything, but just try to get like one little piece of things at a time. Also, other things that are helpful, or switching it up. Like if you're going to talk about something, talk about it briefly, then talk about something else briefly, so the interest kind of can shift with what you're doing. If you're using visual aids, checklists, things like that, that's going to really help with memory, help with follow through, help with motivation.
Which is easy for us.
Right. If you don't have ADHD,
so much homework,
yeah,
and so much, we have so many assignments, with all this stuff we talk about. But that can be really helpful to have lists and things that we're moving through.
Yeah. Having that and having those like visual reminders places, like some clients will write their affirmations or their list like on their mirror in their bathroom.
Yeah.
Or, something where if you got to put away in a drawer, it's gone. It doesn't exist, right? And that's why a lot of people with ADHD have to use the paper notebooks, paper schedules, things like that, because if it's put away in the phone, it doesn't exist.
Yep.
So again, visual aids, visual checklists are really helpful.
Yep, definitely.
So another good strategy with ADHD and recovery is having clear external structure that also has flexibility. And I know that sort of sounds contradictory, but let me explain what we're talking about here. Flexibility is important because you get all or nothing thinking with ADHD a lot. And you also get like the routine, like having just the same exact, that monotonous space. Routine feels monotonous.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's not a dopamine enhancing type of an activity. And so that can really make it hard to be motivated and like actually get through. So you do have to have the structure because it really actually helps to have structure with ADHD. You just need that.
You need it. You have to be creative with it.
Yes. And be willing to like incorporate, like how can you have structure that also incorporates flexibility? Like I'm going to do a spiritual connection every day, but like I get to decide like what that thing is. If I can't decide, or if it feels overwhelming to decide because now I've got 8,000 choices and my ADHD can't decide on one, then I'm going to do this thing. But if today I'm getting really excited about doing a deep dive study on whatever, forgiveness, then do that. Like, that's okay. You don't have to cut it off at, well, no, I have to read 5 minutes in this, and I have to do this exact way of studying. So you want the structure that's going to hit the big points, but then allow for flexibility within that structure.
Yep.
And that also helps where if it's like, okay, well, I was going to do these 4 things before I left for work, then yeah, do the 4 things, but one of them that you normally might spend 20 minutes on, if you're running late, just do it, but only do it for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it still counts, right? Like, I was going to work out for an hour, but whatever, all the things happened, I'm still going to work out. I'm just going to get down and do 20 push-ups right now, and I'm going to call it good for the day, and I'm going to check that off my list, get the dopamine reinforcement for still doing the structure, but there's been some flexibility based on life.
Yep.
Or based on the thing that's going to create an excitement in me to do the thing.
Exactly. So obviously there's also the need to treat the ADD or ADHD directly as much as possible with medication, if it's appropriate, if it fits.
Right.
Because that reduces the need to self-medicate.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking addiction. And so, the more we can do that, the better, in ways that are healthy, connecting, align with our values. And so that should be a part of this. That strategy is really important. In fact, It should be, parallel to everything else you're doing, is you're making sure to find something that works, because that can be a process.
Right. It
obviously.
can be, for sure. Definitely probably less a process than if you're dealing with depression or anxiety, right? It's a little bit easier of a process, but definitely finding that medication or supplementation. I have clients that have ADHD and they can't do stimulants, they can't do medications, just doesn't work in their body. So finding like the supplementation, there's a number of them out there that can work with these kinds of things. But that, yes, you want to give your brain what it needs, so that it's not struggling at a deficiency and needing you to do something, right? Yeah. Act out in some way in order to fill that like void of what's,
right.
That you just don't have the dopamine in your brain.
Yep.
And then, of course, balancing that with the behavioral things to do as well.
Yep.
Both in recovery and with all these connective pieces that David's talking about.
Yeah, and overall, as we kind of talked about earlier, just positive reinforcement with a focus on strengths.
Yep.
We need to counter the shame as much as we can.
And the rejection sensitivity, yeah.
Yeah, and help with internal motivation.
Yep.
Just super important for everybody all the time. Anyway.
Yes.
And again, especially so with ADHD.
Yeah, especially with ADHD. It's always going to be a positive, and strengths focus is almost always going to be more effective than negative consequence-driven spaces.
Yep.
And yes, you need boundaries, and yes, you need consequences, but just recognizing if we can have a positive spin on something, then it's going to be a little bit more effective and more helpful for motivation.
Yep.
And then the last one is just making sure that you're adapting your mindfulness practices for ADHD and ADD. Right? Long extended stillness periods.
Right.
It's just not going to work.
It's hard for everybody.
It's hard for everybody.
Even harder
But
for ADHD.
ADHD is going to be like, oh, I was in a different universe for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you can do it more sensory based, that's also going to be really helpful, because they are going to be much more connected sensorially. They can connect with themselves more if it's focused on sensory things.
Yep.
So if you've got to just sit still, that's going to be a lot harder than like breathe in and notice the breath coming into your body and where it goes in your body, and notice the temperature change of it, and notice like when it's leaving your body, because then they're focused on the actual sensory things that are happening within themselves. Notice like that tightening and relaxing of this muscle, and notice what that feels like and how that's different and how that sinks your body into, all of those types of things are going to be way easier. So, I do have clients who are like, oh, I have ADHD, so I can't do the mindfulness thing. I can't do the meditation
all
thing.
the time. Yep.
And that's not true. You just have to,
it's just different.
Yes. You have to figure out how that works for them. And you just need to really focus on that in a sensory way, and or doing shorter moments of that throughout the day as opposed to like a big long 20-minute session.
Yep.
So hopefully those strategies are really helpful, and some of those things that we've talked about through these episodes are helpful to understand how ADHD changes things with addiction.
Uh-huh.
And how supporting both of those at the same time and working on both of them at the same time is actually going to change quite a bit in terms of the successfulness of the addiction recovery that you're doing.
Exactly. So I hope this is helpful. Can't imagine if this applies to you or a spouse. It's not giving you a lot of good ideas. So thank you for joining us.
I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Two Therapists Talking. We look forward to sharing more conversations with you. Connect with us at twotherapisttalking.com or email podcast@twotherapisttalking.com. If you like what you're hearing, please get on and rate us and subscribe to the podcast.